Hey everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. How's everybody doing today? Come on in the chat and let me know. Hope everybody's having a good week. Hey, it cooled down. It cooled down. It was hot last couple of weeks, right? It's nice and cool right now. Tell me where you're at and how's the weather out there. And because I know over here it was burning up where I am, and now it's nice and cool. And hey, thankful for that. How's everybody doing? This is Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. We're dedicated to teaching you about a variety of tools. Uh, we promote trade skills. We promote DIY skills, especially amongst our young people, right? Because that's the next generation coming up. And in my opinion, that's a lost art. That's a lost art in our communities, especially my community. And I want to bring it back. That's why I have the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel on here for you guys. Okay, so if you see me and you say, "Damn, I haven't seen a guy looking like that talking about tools on YouTube. Let me check him out." Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it, guys, because it's not a lot of us representing out here when it comes to subjects like this. We're representing a lot of other stuff that come on, it's not as productive. So I decided to change that and you know uh, present us in another light. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just for others; it's more so for ourselves. Okay, because we gotta get things together, guys. And I think you know, the trades are where it's at. Learning how to do things yourself, and that's what this live is about today. Especially when it concerns economics, right? Especially when it concerns economics. Okay, you can save a lot of money doing it yourself. All right. No doubt. I think everybody knows that already, but a lot of people aren't confident that they can do it themselves, and rightly so, right? Some jobs you should not approach when it comes to do it yourself. You shouldn't be overly confident in an area that could really get you hurt or cause you to lose a lot of money in the long run because you said, "Oh well, I can do it myself." So no, it's not to push DIY down your throat, right? When you actually need help. Like for instance, sometimes you need a licensed contractor to come in and do your plumbing, do your electrical, things like that. I'm not necessarily talking about okay in this live today. I'm talking about things that you may want to consider doing it yourself. When it comes to home renovations, home repairs, even some automotive stuff, right? Automotive things that you can approach and take care of yourself. Because believe it or not, guys, you can do a lot of things you think you can't do. It's not as hard as you think it is. Okay, um, so you don't always have to shell out money or go into debt to get things done. If you just study it a little bit and say, okay, do this, do that. If you're mechanically inclined, that's even better. I know a lot of us are not, but at the end of the day, guys, I've done a lot of things that I've never had experience doing, and I've achieved it successfully. And I said to myself, "Wow, this is not that hard." So a lot of us can do things ourselves when it comes to that stuff, and we can save thousands of dollars, right? Thousands, because this is not the time. This is not the time to be losing money and throwing it away, right? This is not the time for that. So we're gonna jump right into it, guys, and talk about some things when it comes to home renovations, home repairs, even some automotive projects that you can approach yourself and save thousands of dollars. We're gonna kind of compare what the price ranges are if you hire a contractor or hire, get a mechanic or something. We're gonna compare what you're gonna spend with them versus if you do it yourself. Now there is a hidden cost that will touch on too, that if you do it yourself that you may end up paying, and that is the cost of time. Okay, time to learn it, uh, time to pretty much do it yourself, right? It takes time to do that. Whereas a pro will come in, they'll do it a lot faster, but you're going to pay those thousands of dollars, right? Because it's going to be at least twice or triple the price if you hire one of those guys. All right. So let's talk about it, guys. Come on in the chat and tell us some of the projects that you've done yourself, how much money you've saved, and give us a little inspiration, guys. Give us a little inspiration. Come on in the chat, say hi. See a couple of us watching there. Don't be scared. Come on in and wave. Welcome to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Okay. So let's talk about some of the things you can approach, or let's talk about some of the cost savings. For instance, if you decide to do a roof job on your house, roofing, right? You want to replace your roof, you want to add a new roof. You can hire a professional to do that, and you're going to pay around $5,000 to $10,000 or so. Versus if you do it yourself, you'll pay about half of that max. Okay, so let's just say $10,000 on the high end, and if you hire somebody, and on the high end, if you do it yourself, that's $5,000. That's a lot of money that you can be saving there, guys. That's according to some of the research I've done, and let me tell you, I know how it is when you're tight on funds and you're tight on money, and so you want to save everything you can. So if you want to up your skills, which is what this channel is all about, think about all the money you'll save upping your skills, guys. Upping your skills, learning how to do things yourself, learning how to use those tools, and all of that. Okay. So what else? What else? Insulation, home insulation, right? Uh, you can replace your home insulation yourself too, and pay way less than what you would pay if you contract the work out, right? For instance, I think it's around $3,000 to replace your home insulation. $3,000, guys, versus around $950 to do that, right? Think about that, guys. That's a lot of money. But you also have, if you want to look at it in a more logical way, the more labor intensive something is, if you can, the more it'll cost, right? Because a lot of times there are jobs that are very labor intensive, and the product itself doesn't cost as much as the labor. So the labor takes up about maybe 70 to 80% of the cost, right? So if you can do it yourself, you're definitely going to save money on that. Some things are not, for instance, so it's the opposite with some jobs, right? So if you're going to replace a countertop, granite, or something, you got some marble flooring or granite countertop, then the cost of materials may outweigh the labor, right? So in those kind of situations where the cost of the product is more than more than the labor, right? Or it's up there, the cost of the product is up there, then you may want to think about, hey, this is not something I want. It's not going to be worth it me doing it myself, right? Because it's just too much. So it's more labor intensive jobs are what you want to look at when it comes to doing it yourself, guys. All right. So come on and chat, guys. Say hi. Calibrate Tools and DIY here. Back at you. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see what else you can tackle yourself. All right. If you got room, if you're going to add a room or an addition to your house, that's something you can consider, right? And you'll save a lot of money doing that as well. For instance, say for instance you want to add like a bedroom or something like that. You're probably going to end up spending, depending on the size of it and all that, you're probably going to end up spending with labor around 30 to 35,000 bucks. Okay, now you can knock that down to about 6,000 bucks or $6,000 to $7,000 if you do it yourself. So that's, you're saving around $30,000. 30,000 bucks, guys. That's a lot. All right. Let's see what else here. A bathroom remodel, you can end up spending around 10,000 bucks for that. All right. And if you do it yourself, if you have the the skill level, or get some friends that have the skill level, then you could end up spending around 3,000 bucks. You save around 7,000 bucks for that. That's still a lot, guys. It's a lot of savings you want to take into consideration here. Well, let's just say you want to, let's look at the automotive side. Let's look at the automotive side for a second. We'll jump back to the house side. For instance, guys, let's see here. Brake pads. Who knows how to change brake pads? Let me know in the chat if you know how to change brake pads. All right. Well, how much money can you save changing your own brake pads? Well, you're probably going to spend like 300 bucks at a mechanic, or if you have a mechanic, if you take the shop to do it, right? And the pads cost around what, 35 bucks, depending on the pads, to around 150 bucks in that range, right? Depending on the pads, depending on the car. And so you're saving money right there. You're saving half of that right there. Okay. And brake pads aren't really that hard to fix, right? I mean, you can go on YouTube and look at some of these jobs and do it yourself, guys. You just slide the pad out. If it gets too thin, I think it's around 1/8 of an inch. Once it gets down to that thickness, then you want to take it out, because then you're close to damaging your rotors, right? Scratching on your rotors and stuff like that. So yeah, you can do that yourself, guys. Change your brake pad, save all that money. How many of you guys have changed your battery in your car? I mean, that's simple, right? Why would you go to a shop to do that, right? But guess what? If you go to a shop to do that, mechanic can charge you around $100 just to change a battery. How ridiculous is that? You know, batteries themselves cost around 175 to, I don't know, 100, 110, 125 bucks, right? You can do that yourself, guys, with a couple of tools. Changing your oil, right? How about changing your oil, guys? I mean, oil usually costs around 20 to 30 bucks. Um, but if you go to a garage, they're going to charge you twice that just to change your oil, right? You can get up under there, buy you some ramps, car ramps to lift your car up. I prefer car ramps. To me, it's safer than a jack. And just get under there and change the oil. Right? Change the oil. Somebody was telling, but you got to be another thing too. You got to be careful with these garages, right? Because you can go under your car. I'm not going to name names, but a friend of mine showed me a picture of what happened when he got his oil changed. He went up under the car. He had someone go under his car for him, just to see how the job was done. And the place that changed his oil, and it's a big name. Everybody probably knows his name, at least on my side of the world. And they had put sealant around the around the nut there. It wasn't even. I was like, okay, that's gonna seal the oil leak. Interesting. So a lot of times you got to go and check out what kind of work these mechanics or whoever these contractors did, because a lot of times it's faulty work and they're just taking your money and they just want you to come back. Everybody knows that story. Okay. Um, let's see here. All right. How about spark plugs? Spark plugs. Anybody ever change spark plugs? Come in the chat and tell me if you ever change your spark plugs. Okay. Now, spark plugs, they're supposed to last up to about, I don't know, 100,000 miles or so. And you might have to clean them, clean them occasionally. But if you got to change them, I mean, you can take it to a shop and spend 40 bucks for somebody to replace your spark plugs. All right. And those things probably only cost 15 bucks. But all you need is like a wrench and maybe a torque wrench or something like that to take them out and put them back in. All right. So some of these things, guys, that we're taking to the shop, and I believe in, circulating the dollar, and we have a mechanic or something that everybody in town goes to and stuff, and we want to keep him in business. I get it, but some things you can do yourself, guys. You don't have to spend all that money, right? And at the end of the day, it all adds up. I mean, are you going to take it to the mechanic to change your windshield wipers as well? I mean, you can do that yourself. That's one of the easiest jobs to do on your car, right? They cost about 12 bucks. Take them out, snap them back in, depending on your car. Now, here's one I did the other day. I changed the light bulb in my headlight. I actually did a video on that. That could seem difficult to some people, right? Because sometimes you got to take out certain areas, certain parts of the areas that block your access to the headlight, and that can seem intimidating, say, to some people, right? But hey, you got YouTube University. Look at Calibrate Tools and DIY. It'll teach you how to do all that stuff. All right. Hey, Audrey Yaboa. Hey, Audrey. I have changed my brake pads before, but not with the newer car. Audrey Yaboa. She is that's a lady, guys, saying she's changed her own brake pads. Now, if she's changing her brake pads, we have no excuse, guys. We got no excuse. You got to know how to gap the spark plug, according to L. Harris. Hey, L. Harris. Got to know how to gap the spark plug. Explain to us what gapping the spark plug is, L. Harris. Elaborate, guy. I like when you guys come in here and add your knowledge to it, because I mean, everybody learns, right? This is what this live is all about, guys. That's why I do lives, man, because we got people out there know more than I do. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I'm just a face. I'm just the face. I'm the face. That's all. You know what I mean? But I want the pros to come in here and give advice so we all can learn together. That's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of it all. Okay. All right. How about changing a tire? Hey, Audrey, you ever change a tire? I know L. Harris probably changed a tire. Yeah. I mean, tires, guys. that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, if you don't know how to change a tire, and I don't know what to tell you. I mean, but I get it. Sometimes if you get a flat, or you get a puncture uh, uh, in the middle of the night and something like that, or you may not even have the tools in your trunk. How many of us have driven around without the right uh, tools to repair or change our tire? You don't have the jack, you don't have the lug wrench, and you get a flat. You're pretty much done, right? So you should always have the appropriate necessary equipment in your back trunk for those emergencies. Okay, you should have jumper cables. You should have a flashlight and all that stuff. Okay. Yeah. So you can get a tire puncture repair kit for like $10 to $20. Right. You can if you need to repair a puncture, you can do that yourself. Right. I mean, how many times we've took our car to the tire place and we've watched them do it. Right. I mean, some of that stuff you can just do yourself. But I get it. Some people don't want to get their hands dirty and all that. Me, I'm not. I don't really. I kind of like getting my hands dirty, to be honest. Uh, yeah. So, by the way, you should rotate your tires about every 6 months or so. I think that's about every 6,000 miles. I read somewhere. Yeah, about every 6 months you should rotate your tires, and you should always, once again, you should always have like a nice jack stand or a sturdy jack stand, and all that stuff to, for when those incidents happen. All right. All right, guys, come on into the Calibrate Tools channel. Say hi. Audrey Boa, she said yes, but she'd rather call AAA. The lug nuts are too hard to get off. I get it. Yeah, those stubborn lug nuts. And you know what I do not like about that? It's like you get like all six however many lug nuts off, and there's always that one that don't want to come off, right? You get it's always one. It's always one screw. It's always one nut, and it's just wow. Why does it have to be like that? It's always one stubborn one. Daryl the finisher. Hey Daryl, how you doing, man? Especially since YouTube is available, it's easier to learn how to do stuff yourself now than it ever was. Absolutely. I mean, hey, sometimes I'll go on YouTube myself to look something up before I upload or whatever some of my videos. I make sure I do the research and all of that. And every now and then I may make a mistake or something, but hey, I'm not perfect. Just leave it. If you're respectful and you say, hey man, you did it that way, you should have done that way. You're respectful in the comments. Great. I just don't be disrespectful. I try to do my best here. Yeah, but that's absolutely true, Daryl. YouTube University, right? That's what they call it, and that's the power of the internet, and I love it. It's changed the world. Yeah, Audrey, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so yeah, there's some jobs that, like I said, if you're doing an oil change, you want to make sure that you got to change the oil filter and all that stuff. So just have the appropriate tools as well. Like say, a radiator job, right? You want to flush your radiator regularly anyway, right, to avoid any buildup and all that. So you want to make sure that you flush it using whatever product that you have to do that. Just get a garden hose in there, use the right product, cleaning product, and just remove the drain plug and just flush it out, guys. So you can even flush your radiator yourself, and of course, changing the antifreeze, right? Put new antifreeze in there. How easy is that? You're not going to take it to the shop to do that, right? So yeah. Oh yeah, air filters, guys. Air filters in your car. Very important, guys. Those filters get pretty dirty sometimes, and you gotta replace them, right? And if you don't, man, your car's running hot or something, it could be your air filter, right? It's dirty, it's getting clogged up, it's not letting that air circulate like it needs to. So you don't want to end up overheating on the side of the road because you didn't change your air filter. So it's just regular maintenance that you can do that you don't necessarily have to take to the shop to do it, right? If you just learn certain things about these things you use every day, right? Your car, all that stuff. Make sure that's in good running condition. I would say around 30,000 to 40,000 miles. Check your air filter out, and and check it out and make sure that's running good. If you got to replace it. Put a new one in there. No big deal. They do it all the time when you go to these oil change places. They change the filters for you, so you can do that yourself. All right. So back to the home, back to the house. Yeah, guys. Let's talk more about some things you can do yourself when it comes to houses, when it comes to your home. Once again, certain things you should just leave for the licensed contractors. Yeah, I know. Yeah, got a motorcyclist driving by there. Let him do his thing. You should leave contractors, licensed professionals, anything involving electrical wiring, plumbing. When you're talking about bathtubs, stoves, dishwashers, what's that, garbage disposals, things like that, you may want to leave to to the professionals, right? But when it comes to some of the things that you may think a professional should be the only one to do, you can do it. I mean, like I said, roof replacements. You can replace your roof for $10,000. No, well, actually, $10,000 if you hire a professional, where you can spend about half of that, $5,000, to replace your roof. You can even add to your own driveway, right? A lot of these things people do to upgrade the curb appeal for their homes. You can do, all right, like a driveway job. It says like you can spend $5,000 doing that, redoing your driveway or adding to it. When if you do it yourself, you can spend like $1,500, right? So, like I said, anything labor intensive, check if it's labor intensive. 70 to 80% of the labor, it comprises most of the cost. The labor is 70 most of the cost. Then you want to look at possibly doing it yourself. Okay, if you need to save that money. Everybody doesn't have the big money to spend like that, guys. If you got a shed, you wanna create, build a shed or something, man. You can do that, or you can have somebody else come in there and do it for like $10,000 just to build a shed. I remember I used to build sheds back in the days as a youngster in my teens. Used to build sheds in the backyard, and it was fun. Yeah, I loved it. Windows. If you replace your windows, that can cost you around $5,000, or you can do it yourself for about $1,500. You can save about $3,500. What do you think about that? If you got a deck you want to build or something like that, or if you want to repair your deck to create, that more room, right? More room for your home and all that. You can spend upwards of $10,000 versus maybe $3,000 to build a deck, right? Because once again, these are labor intensive things, and if you cut the labor out, you save a lot of money doing it yourself. All right, Santino, Santino Thompson, how you doing, sir? Good to see you coming on in here. Yeah, Audrey, bro, absolutely. They got air filters in your home. A lot of HVAC work. Not all HVAC work, right? But certain things you can do as far as HVAC. Even some electrical jobs you can do as well, like replacing a socket or something like that, a socket in your home. But I always, I don't want to steer people towards doing too much electrical stuff, because I would leave a lot of that to professionals. Audrey says, plan it very well so you can save time and make less mistakes. Yeah, that's the trade-off, guys. When you do it yourself, or you're getting into the DIY world, there is a trade-off, right? Versus hiring a pro, right? It's the time factor, the learning curve, because you want to make sure that it's done right. So one of the things you can do is, complete the job as best you can, or and call in a pro to look at it and say, okay, yeah, it looks satisfactory. If you know any pros, like if you know anybody, a tradesman or something, electrician, plumber, anybody like that, call them and say, hey, is this how does that look to you? Was it done okay? Is it on code or anything? Is it following the code, compliant? Or if you want, you can have that friend do it with you, right? If they're not charging you or anything, you say, hey, look, I just want to do it myself. I need your advice on this. Let me know what to do. Okay. So if you got a friend like that, that's even better. So yeah, absolutely, Audrey. Planning. And then of course you got the almighty YouTube to help you out. Like Daryl the finisher told us earlier. Yeah. I mean, Think about it. I mean, the internet has revolutionized revolutionized the how we're educated, guys. And some people may not be that happy about it, but hey, it's all good. All right, what else? What about building fences, guys? If you want to build a fence or so, I know they got all kinds of fences. They got actually there maybe a couple years ago, I was helping put in a fence. It wasn't even a wooden fence. It was those pre-manufactured fences. It was a prefab, and I think it was plastic, like a hard plastic or something like that. Um, but if you hire somebody to put it in, you can spend like right $4,000 to do that, right? Around $4,000. But if you do it yourself, you can spend around $1,500. I mean, you're still saving. You're still saving, okay? And fences are big. You're not gonna, you know, people are gonna put up fences all the time. I I work as a welding instructor, and guys come in there at the shop I'm in, and they're always putting up fences or doing some project. So yeah, fences are pretty popular. I think we know that. So at the end of the day, guys, you can't save a lot of money doing it yourself. Okay. But once again, the trade-off is time, right? You got that learning curve. And if you're new to it, you can spend a whole lot of days, a whole lot of nights and weekends putting something together. So, you got to take that into consideration. Is it worth your time doing this myself? Okay. Is the labor not that much? Is most of the cost going to be on the actual product or so that I have to replace something with or repair? Because if it is, then hey, what's the point if your goal is to save money, right? If you're doing it just because you want to learn and you don't necessarily care about the money, then because you want to up your skills, um, then hey, go for it, right? But if it's just to save money, you got to kind of look at the details there, right? Okay. All right. Another thing you want to consider, guys, is permits. Oh yeah. Daryl the finisher says painting if you take your time. Yes. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people think, okay, I'm gonna paint and I'm just gonna go ahead and splash something on the wall and it'll be done with. It's easy. I'll take a roller. But no, there's a lot to painting. I mean, um, yeah, I mean, you got, especially with some of the machines you have out there, you got to consider the texture, you got to consider the distance. And if you're using some of these painting machines, you gotta know how to adjust the settings on them. So it's not just about throwing something on the wall there. Okay. Absolutely, Daryl. Santino, man, trying to find a car, find a car experience. Huh. Expensive. Yeah. Yeah. You looking for a car there, Santino? Yeah, I mean, right now it's a seller's market. Yeah, it is very expensive right now. I mean, used cars, everything, man, it's gone up. So what used to cost $3,000 costs about I don't know $7,000 to $8,000. So I get it, guys. It's a seller's market out there, and they're taking advantage of it. Hey, what can you do? It's capitalism. It's capitalism. Yeah. So once again, you gotta consider, guys, if it's really worth it doing it yourself. Are you doing it just to learn? I don't. I like to just get into it myself and learn, and so I can teach others. And or is if it's just about money, then maybe it's not worth your time. Okay, like you say, time is money, and I get that. But yeah, so you can't. The whole point of this live, guys, is that you can do it yourself, guys. If you just say approach it with the with the attitude of, hey, it's not as hard. It's not that hard. I remember one time I was driving on the freeway, and my car broke down. Car broke down, and I couldn't start it again. I could not start it again. But I happened to pull over close to a garage, a shop in a part of town that I never frequent. Right, I hardly ever go to this part of town. It was a more upscale area, and that I was used to. And so I pulled over, and I was like, oh, okay, what am I going to do? It has to be the starter, right? It has to be the starter. So I ended up. I don't know how I got that car into the yard of that shop, but I got the car to the yard of the shop, I think it may have started again, and it kind of crawled over to that yard. And let me tell you, I I had a couple of tools in my hand. And I got under there. I got under the van. It was a van, so it was kind of high off the ground, so I was able to climb up under there pretty easily. And I'm telling you, I took that starter off, and I went into the shop, and I had just enough money to buy a new starter, and for the vehicle. So I bought the starter, and the guys in the shop, they didn't put it on. I put it on, and that was the first time I ever did something like that. And I never worked as a mechanic or anything like that before, but I did it, and it worked. I was like, okay, you can do pretty much anything, right? You just got to be confident enough. All I had to do was take the starter out, and it had these gears on it, and I had to put the new starter in. Yeah, the shop had it in stock. The shop had it in stock, and they were looking at me like, because they didn't really see guys like me in that part of town, so they were already giving me the side eye. So I didn't care. I had to get back on the road, and I was desperate. So I got under the van, and I put it on myself. And it worked. And I was like, man, you know. And but while I was putting it on, the guy who owned the shop, he walked out. I guess he came outside and saw me working on my car, and my legs were sticking out. Right, the rest of my body's up under the car, and he wasn't too pleased that I was on his property fixing my own car. But you know what? That's his problem. I didn't have to pay him all that money for him to fix it. I fixed it myself, and I got out of there, guys. So, in saying that, I just want to, don't underestimate yourself on what you can do. Okay, like I said, I never touched a starter. I never took a starter off, and or anything like that. Wow, adrenaline gives you common knowledge. Yeah, I must absorb. I don't know, something told me just go in there and do it yourself, and I did it, no problem. And a lot of times we can do a lot of things that people think we can't do. A lot of things we think ourselves that we can't do, and you got to just say no, no, I can do this. I just need to go step by step, stay calm, relax, and let's do this, right? And that's all it takes for you to accomplish most things in life. Okay, you can, don't listen to those voices. Don't listen to the inside voices that discourage you. Uh, don't listen to those outside voices that discourage you, because they're always going to be there, and those are just voices that are not confident themselves. Okay, and you can't listen to it, right? You got to find that place in yourself. Say, hey, look, man, I can do anything I put my mind to, and trust me, you can do it, guys. All right, guys. So I just want to, on this live, I just want to go over some of the things you can do to save some money when it comes to DIY, and I hope you got something from it. If you did, please hit the like button. Please support the channel. I'm always here on Tuesday at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come on in, and I love when you guys join the chat so I can get to know you a little better, call your name out, give you a shout out, and all that good stuff. And we can go back and forth and learn from each other. That's what this is all about, guys. So check out the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel if you so choose, and hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to see you guys next time. Take care.